Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Before we get into everything for this episode, like, share, subscribe, tell any and everybody about this podcast. We're trying to be here for a good time and a long time, so we need y'all help with doing so. Fellas, Miles, Greg, I'm your host, Tone. How are y'all doing on this fine Thursday night?
Surprisingly, I'm doing good.
I'm doing better than most Knicks fans I know. That's all I'm going to say, man. If I were Miles, I wouldn't even be on this podcast. I think I have to delay it until the next game. We talk about that after game 2. I need to reset.
I'm not a chicken. I can take the punches when they come.
Hey, so we will be talking about the Knicks debacle and that collapse that happened in game 1. We'll obviously be talking about game 1 from the Timberwolves Thunder series. They will be playing tonight. We'll preview that, see if we think they make any changes, if they tie the series up, all that good stuff. We, of course, if y'all were under a rock somewhere, SGA became MVP. There's been some debate on that. And they voted. The NFL owners voted. The tush push will still be in effect. Not talking about it on this episode, but they voted that NFL players can be involved in the Olympics that will be in LA for flag football. So we're going to draft an offense for flag football. Quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers. Nothing too crazy. But we're going to start off with SGA becoming MVP. Throw out some stats from this season. 37.5 from 3-point. 30-plus points on 50% shooting for 3 straight seasons. The 5th player in NBA history to do that. Kareem, Giannis, Wilt, and MJ. He joins on that list. 2,484 total points, which was first in the NBA. 20-plus points in 72 straight games, which is the second longest in NBA history. And he was first in win shares with 16.7 and first in defensive win shares with 4.8, which is 10th highest in NBA history. The best win shares per 48 minutes since 2015-2016 Stephen Curry. Specifically talking about MVP. Did the voters get it right with SGA, or should it have been Jokic?
It should have been Jokic, and we talked about this all year. It should have been Jokic, but there's been a precedent set already that you're not going to pick the guy who's deserving of the MVP award, the guy who does the most with less, right? That's not what we base the award off of. If it were, LeBron would have, again, 9 MVPs. LeBron's the example here. He just is. And to some extent, Michael Jordan too, right? Like, he should have more than he probably has. So the voter fatigue thing is real. I don't really care what anyone says. If there's another person that's deserving and is close enough, they're going to give it to the other person if you've won more than 2 MVPs in your career. And that's what happened here. Shea has a real case, and I think it was a great run. But I think if you really look at it, what Jokic did with losing the shooters he had on his roster and the way that roster completely changed and morphed around him, and for them to still make it to the second round of the playoffs and win, I don't know, that they won nearly 50 games, if not 50, for them to have had all that success in regular season and postseason because on his back, he deserved the MVP award. He did the most with less and with the least. And so you have to look at it that way when you talk about the MVP. But Shea has a case. Like I said, I just don't think he's the MVP over Jokic because of everything all the ways that Jokic makes his team better, because he had to, right? He had Russell Westbrook playing significant minutes for the team, and they were good. Like, they were a good team. That means something. That means your gravity on the floor. That means the way you make guys, the way you elevate guys' games. It's there, because you have to elevate Russell Westbrook's game to have him on the floor that much and still win games. You have to at this stage in Russell Westbrook's career. It's not me trying to get over on him and make a joke about him. It's just the truth, and that's what he does. That's the effect he has on his team. Every single night. All those guys play above their heads because he makes their lives easier, because he's able to pass the ball. He's so smart. They understand when to cut. They know he's going to find them. He's great for team morale because he's such an unselfish player. Shea's unselfish too, just in a different way. Shea's trying to score. I don't look at the way Shea tries to score as being selfish, and I know the foul thing's a big conversation. Frankly, I think it's a bit overblown. The foul thing, I guess we can get into that at some point, but at the end of the day, he won it. I'm not surprised because there's precedent for him winning it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you he doesn't deserve it. I'm just going to tell you that it should have been Jokic. But our definitions of MVP versus the media's has been different for the last 10 to 15 years. So what are people really complaining about? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to complain about. It's the same tired thing to talk about. You know what I mean? We've been had this problem. We've been seeing this. It's been a thing. So I don't know. That's just my take on it.
Hey Miles, since Greg already talked about it, because that's again a very big concern of topic regarding SGA. First game we saw it started off in the first 7 minutes. He had 7 free throw attempts already. It was a concern, obviously, and you could see the frustration from jump from Mike Conley, who was the most mild-mannered player probably in the NBA. He's always in the conversation for Sportsmanship Year of the Award. He was getting upset. We already know Ant-Man, we saw he led the league in technicals. He was running hot. McDaniels was running hot. In regards of SGA, he ended up with a total of 14 free throw attempts that game, 11-14. He was 10 for 27 from the field. Jayden McDaniels ends up fouling out with 6 fouls. Ant-Man had 4 fouls. When we look at SGA and the culmination of this season and this series, does SGA get too many foul calls?
I mean, I think when you look at it, and I was looking at his stats the other day, and this is like probably the 3rd highest season for him as far as free throw attempts and free throws made. Like he was way worse 2 years ago. So, but when we think about the playoffs, when we think about how we've seen it officiated up until this point, they've been letting a lot of stuff slide. Like there's a lot of contact. Brunson deals with it. Other guys in the NBA deal with it in the playoffs, and they're letting it slide because I think they're trying to allow them to be more physical. Like you see the product in the season. Like people can draw a foul so easily now. Like they're calling whatever. You can't even hand check anymore. So it's just, I think it's the way he's doing it though. Like the blatant flopping where a slight bump that you initiated, you're all of a sudden going flying into the cameraman on the baseline. I'm like, come on. That's why it's hard to root for OKC. Like this team is great. They won what, 68 games this year? The young core. This team's going to be good for years to come, and they should be the favorites right now. But when your best player, who's as great as he is, like he's probably the best mid-range player in the league to date right now, when he's doing this and you're getting guys in foul trouble off of ticky-tack stuff, like there's only so many calls you can challenge, like a lot of marginal contact on Shea. I hope at some point they'll tighten it up and not give him that, because I mean, what, he was 10 for 27. Besides that, I think they did a pretty good job on him, minus the foul calls that they were giving him in game 1. So like Shea's amazing. He deserved MVP, even though I feel like it was more so because he didn't get it last year. Like he was amazing this year, but I think he was more deserving of it last season than he was this year.
I'm just gonna say the reason why I think the whole foul conversation with him is overblown is because if you watch basketball in the 2000s into the 2000s, early 2010s, seeing guys take 10 free throws a game was normal. It was more normal because guys drove to the basket a lot more because guys weren't just jacking up threes and driving just to kick it as opposed to driving to actually get to the rim and finish. Dwayne Wade on his 06 championship run got to the line like crazy. I can remember that. I can remember how often he lived at the free throw line because he was getting to the rim with frequency. Kobe was getting to the rim. You play out the mid post, he's getting to the rim, right? 3-point shots were the last thing he was looking to do. So those guys lived in around the restricted area. So it was normal to see guards taking 10 free throws, 12 free throws, 15 free throws a game. That was normal. That wasn't something that was a big deal back then because the game was a little more physical because the court was more bogged down and smaller because guys played that way. They were trying to get to the paint. Now we're trying to get to the paint to kick. Now we're getting to the paint, and so it's a different ball game. And so Shea's a little bit of a throwback in the sense that he's driving to score a lot of times. He really is. He kicks it, but he's driving to score the basketball. And it was the same with Harden, right? And while you're driving to score the basketball, you will pick up little tricks on how to draw fouls going to the lane, whether it's a low pickup going to the lane, letting guys smack your arms, or a high pickup, or whatever it may be, bumping guys, like using guys' momentum against them. You figure those things out driving to the rim. So the game is in such a different place now, and we're so used to the Steph Curry style of basketball that when we see a bunch of free throws being taken by people, and we see these fouls being called that we're not used to seeing anymore because the way guys play the game universally, everyone makes a big deal about it. But it's not. Shea is doing what he's supposed to be doing. We got to adjust to him. The league has to adjust to him, and maybe the league will go back to having guards that are a throwback that are looking to get to the rim to score. But that's just my take on it. Like it's really more indicative of the way the game is played and where the game is now, and that's why we're having this conversation, even though it shouldn't be if you understand this game and been watching for a long time.
So I want to ask you this, Greg. Being that you're a coach, you coach high school, AAU at the highest levels. And for those that have concern, I'm gonna just set the precedent and set a little bit of the background. If you're gonna have questions of why we're asking Coach Sinsmere this question, he's been coaching and he's been training basketball players for at least 10 years. So there's the credentials right there before I ask this question. If you're a coach and you're going against a player like Anthony Edwards, SGA, what is the game plan on how to try to stop SGA?
I'm blitzing every single screen he comes off of. He's not going to be he's not comfortable coming off any screen. There's certain players you just blitz. Like you're not letting a guy come off. Let's not even a debate about drop coverage anymore or like just having someone hard hedge. No, we're just blitzing it. Like get the ball out of his hand. I don't care that they play 4-on-3 on the backside. I'd rather make one of them beat me than him beat me. He'll beat me. Like he will. But the other guys, I take my chances. And so I'm blitzing him. And if we are in a one-on-one situation with him, you got to understand if he's driving the ball to the basket, you really got to have your hands visible to the ref at all times. And if you're going to reach on a guy like that, you reach your two hands and not one. If you reach your one hand, it's going to be a foul. You reach your two hands, there's a chance you get a jump, right? It makes it tougher for the ref to officiate that. Those are the little things that it takes, right? Like, and when you get bumped off by this guy, you're just contesting with high hands in the air. They always got to see your hands. That's the way this thing goes. Like if they can see your hands, it's hard to call a foul, right? It's much harder to call body contact, nudges with your body, you bumping with someone, than it is like for them to call like swipes down, right? Reaches across his body. You're trying to get greedy. Like Jaden McDaniels just picked up a bunch of fouls, just getting greedy, trying to reach in, do stupid stuff. Just have you have like an 8-foot wingspan. Just have your hands available where the ref can see them, and it will just so happen to be disruptive to the guy shooting the shot at the same time. A lot of the shots that Shea's taking in the lane, they're not even contested. He's tall, he's a big guy, but you have a hand up. Just have a hand up. Keep your hands where the ref can see them. You have a better chance of not getting as many fouls called on you. But if you're going to sit there and try to play like you play against everybody else, and you know what guys do, right? They put their hand on the guy's waist to guide them. That's the big thing. Like hand check. You can't do that to a guy like him. He's gonna manipulate it and he's gonna get a foul. You have to slide your feet. And if you get beat, then help has to be there. And you have to peel and get to his man. You're gonna have some mismatches. You gotta live with that. That's fine. But you can't sit there and just try to play the way you play against anybody. It does not work. They're too skilled. And him in particular. So it's got to be like, hey, my hands are just visible, and we're doing a great job switching. We're talking defensively. We're passing him off as we need to, but you're showing up with high hands. That's the way you guard a guy like that. It's the only way you can. And even then, he might score 30. But it might be a hard 30.
Yeah, Chris Finch, the coach, was saying that was the game plan in regards of trying to. One of the issues, they had a lot of turnovers in Minnesota, and you gave opportunity for OKC to get some easy buckets to get on the run. When they had them in the half court, which is what the game plan was, according to Finch, let's get them in the half court. And basically, he said, in so many words, we don't believe they have a good offense. It's SGA and SGA alone in the half court. Let's guard them in the half court. We have enough. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, who plays both sides of the floor, Rudy Gobert, if y'all get past them inside the paint. We have bodies to come in and do it. They didn't really play that much in the half court, and when they did, we see a 10 for 27. He started off 2 for like 12, I think it was. Started off the game doing that. So that's the approach that they have to do. By the way, if y'all watching this and y'all see, is that the logo on the shirt? Give us a month. We have merch coming out probably in about a month, 2 months. It's a little different over here. We building from ground up, so a little different. But we'll get to y'all and we'll announce it when it comes out. Speaking on that game, specifically on that series, because we got game 2 coming up tonight. Kevin O'Connor put out this thread and this tweet, whichever place y'all saw that first, about the fouls and whatnot. And Anthony Edwards specifically only had 7 drives to the rim, while SGA logged 28 drives to the rim. They set a record, the Minnesota Timberwolves, for the most 3-pointers attempted in a Western Conference Finals ever in NBA history. How concerned are you for this Timberwolves team going forward for the rest of the series, and do they tie it up tonight?
I think the numbers for Ant, the reason why the drives were so low is because he hurt his ankle. I saw early, right? He stopped driving after that injury happened. But you take the most threes you've taken. I think you set a record for threes, and you're getting these threes off of no drives, just passes on the perimeter. Like I saw a bunch of that from them in that game. You're not going to win that game. It's bad enough to take a million threes in a game as it is. It's even worse to take it when you aren't getting penetration to the rim and getting the defense to close in and then get an open shot. They're not even getting quality threes. So the key to that for them offensively anyways is getting more rim penetration, getting downhill. They got to get downhill more often, and they can't only rely on Ant to do that. They got to get it off cuts. They got to get it off flex screen, flex cuts, or whatever it may be, right? Pin downs. You got to like generate these things as a coach. You have to do that if you don't have a guy who's going to break somebody down and get downhill the way teams rely on Luka and Shea to do it, right? They won't drop a play because they don't necessarily need to. Those guys get to the rim whenever the hell they want. Same with Jalen Brunson. It's the same thing. That's why we fall into this trap of watching a guy dribble, break someone down, and get to the middle of the floor, and make something good happen, and we fall in love with it, and it turns into a problem because eventually they get tired. You can't do it all game. So, to get on track here, they have to get downhill into the rim more often. They have to get as many paint touches as possible. Paint touches when the guy gets 2 feet in the paint. If you can get 60 of those in the basketball game, you're probably going to win the game. Or you're going to be really close because good things are going to happen when you have 2 feet in the paint. And you got to rebound better. You got to be able to win the rebound battle, which is not easy against Hartenstein, even for Gobert, which I saw coming. But, yeah, I think those are the big things for them offensively to kind of change that anyways. And more paint touches also means more attempts at the rim. You need more of those too. So hopefully get more lobs, backside lobs to Gobert because it's the only way he can score. You got to do little things like that. You have to, or else you have no chance against a team that good defensively. And I give OKC credit too. They do a great job making sure teams can't drive to the rim. Caruso's unscreenable. They do a really, really good job. But it's all the more reason why you have to run more actual sets. You're not going to beat them one-on-one. They're very athletic. You're going to have to run sets to beat that basketball team. There's have to be flex cuts. There's going to have to be little things to open guys up, like pin downs, whatever, double drags, Iversons, whatever. You got to get into your bag of tricks, get more plays. If you're going to, sit there and run pick and roll, we are, as a society, are learning how to guard pick and rolls more easily. It's not, if you have a guy on ball who refuses to be screened, pick and roll does you no good. It does you no good. Caruso is an incredible defensive player. He's an incredible basketball player. And so you got to give him credit, OKC, on that side, because they're living off defense. It's sure as hell in their offense that's helping them, that makes them special. It's the defense, to be honest. They got to get creative with their sets. Chris Finch has got to coach. You got to coach a game. You got to coach to win. You got to out-coach the other guy. That's what's going to come down to.
I feel like they're in a tough spot, Minnesota, because when you have Rudy out there, offensively, he's kind of a minus, unless he's in, game 6 or whatever against LA where he's dominating. But, you can't really have him out there because it's like 4-on-5. It's similar to Mitch. You're like, if he's not getting a rebound or a lob, he's not really helping you. Hartenstein can help. He's good helping off of the big that he's playing on, and Rudy's not a threat, so that's going to make it harder for them to drive. And they have good defensive guards, like J-Dub's good, Caruso, Cason Wallace is good too. This is a really good OKC team, and they've got great defense. So they're going to have to get creative. Maybe you play Nas a little more, try to get a little more 5 out, and see if that allows either Randall or Ant to get downhill. Because with Rudy there, he's just kind of standing there. And He's not quick, so I mean, yeah, you'd want the lob to be a threat, but I don't think OKC is really worried about Rudy and him being a lob threat. Like he might get one, maybe two of those in the game, but this is why you bring in a Hartenstein because you're not having Chet bang down with him. But um, I'm hoping that Minnesota can, step up this game tonight and pull off the dub because otherwise this could be one of those, you know, sweeps that we were trying
Hey,
to avoid at this point.
completely agree. I think one of the X factors that a lot of people didn't have on their bingo card going to the playoffs. Their third best option this postseason so far offensively has been Jaden McDaniels. He has actually shown up offensively during his playoffs, so he can't afford outside of even defensively. He can't afford to be in six fouls. He can't afford to be getting hot headed. They actually need him even the more on the offensive side, even more than the defensive side. Yes, playing defense against SGA, but he actually has been making an impact on offense. I'm a Lakers fan. I saw it. He killed, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was against the Lakers. And then he did it again the next round against the Warriors. They need his offense as well because it's really Ant-Man in regarding the starting lineups. Ant-Man, Julius Randle, that's it. And then you're going to need that third person, as we already just mentioned, because Rudy Gobert is null and void. McDaniels make them guard him as well. That's where we've seen most of their success. Miles mentioned that man, Mitchell Robinson, who has made such an impact, and I am a fan of him and proud because he at one point, and Miles remember this because we talked about it in the chat, he was complaining that I need more touches. He put out his summer mixtape. He looked like Kevin Durant in the summer, just getting busy, but came in this year and embraced his role completely and is impactful without dropping the buckets. So much so, the Knicks starting lineup has a net rating of negative 8.89 in 292 minutes. They lose game one. Same thing that we saw last series, where it was times where you should have left Mitch in, you should have left McBride in, and Tibbs just naturally, I just got to put my starters in. I don't know what else to do. Should the Knicks and Tibbs consider this series making a change in the starting lineup?
100%. I mean, it's either you're putting Deuce in there and putting and who is it? Josh Hart's coming off the bench, or I mean, regardless, I think Josh should come off the bench. But it's who do you put in for him, Deuce or Mitch? Um, I'd like Deuce because I like the defense that he brings, and he can help with the defense. Because that's the thing, they try to hide Brunson, they try to hide Cat with some of these, drop coverage or trying not to get over the screen because they don't want. They're hunting Brunson off of and that's why he's almost fouled out a couple times. So um, maybe having Deuce out there to spread the floor a little bit because Josh, who's shot the ball pretty well the last 4 or 5 games, but I don't trust it because the track record says at some point it's not going to fall. But Deuce, he brings it on both sides of the ball and he doesn't fall asleep, which sometimes Josh, he's asleep at the wheel back there on defense. So, um, yeah, Mitch has been a godsend since he came back. Like I was saying it earlier in the year, like this guy is an impact player. Just wait until we get him back because he does make a difference. He can turn a series just like that. Like you even saw it on game one. Like when he's in there, he does whatever they need, gets offensive rebounds, second chances. That hurts the Pacers. They can't get out and run if you're getting second chances. So um, Tibbs, you got to stop being so stubborn. Maybe if he had some different assistant coaches in there to get in his ear and tell him maybe we need to make a change. The numbers don't lie. Like analytics is a big thing they talk about in sports nowadays, and I'm sure they look at the numbers. He looks at the tape, and he's still rolling with his same guys. Like he's stubborn to a fault. Like it's gotten us this far with those guys, but at some point you got to change, and like you got to make mid-game adjustments. Sometimes you're not going to roll with Brunson so early in a fourth quarter if the other guys are rolling. Like when Brunson's out there, I'm getting off topic now. When Brunson's out there, it's more one-on-one, guys watching. When he's off the court, you see the ball moving. McCall's getting into it. Deuce, Cat can get busy a little bit. So I love Brunson, but sometimes you got to read the room a little bit. And I feel like he had a hard time reading the room in game one. And that's one of the reasons why we had a tough loss.
Hey, Greg, being with some of those things that is mentioned, Tibbs, coaching adjustments, we've been talking about it literally all year at different points. He doesn't have good jobs with substitutions, his rotations. He doesn't at times have a good job with making plays on the offensive end, out of timeout plays. But then on the flip side, we've talked about this as well and nauseum how the Pacers aren't the best team in the world. They're not a historic team. They take advantage of your mistakes timely, and they have timely buckets. When you talk about Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year, this team might be the clutchest team of the year. Anytime it's a close game, they seem to more times than not come out with the win, come out with the big shots. Tyrese Halliburton is 4 for 4 in the playoffs in moments of going ahead baskets or tying baskets. Extremely great play. With all of that accompanied and totaled together, with both sides having their flaws, how concerned should the Knicks and the Knicks fans, Knicks Tape Nation, be concerned for this series after that game one loss, which they should have won?
There should be a reasonable level of concern. I think the Knicks are the better team from top to bottom. I'll just say that right now. I'll say they have a better collection of talent. But, the Knicks' problems, they're so easy to spot, right? The first thing about this game that stands out to me is the how the stubbornness of Tibbs to stick with drop coverage throughout the entire game. It made no sense to me. I saw it too many times, and really that stretch in like the late second quarter, right, where Tyrese hit a couple shots to get going, just coming up the floor, and there was really no half court. It was just like coming up a screen, and he gets an easy pull up three, right, in those situations, like because you're in drop, those things get a guy into rhythm and make it too easy for him to get going. You can't play drop against a good high school guard anymore. Like you really can't, let alone a really good NBA all-star level point guard or a guard or three or whatever, any player, right? You just have to be smarter than that in that situation. You have to be willing to change your stuff and change your looks because Tyrese deserves a level of respect, right? But then you stay in the drop and the Neesmith situation happens where he's making a couple threes and you think, okay, after the second three, they'll change things up. They still have a lead. They're fortunate. They built enough of a lead to be ahead, and they didn't change it. And he made like 6 threes and literally what felt like 30 seconds. I've never seen anything like it. And there was no change. The nearest guy to contest those shots was about 3 or 4 feet off of him. And he's getting clean looks from three. And it's like the Knicks just did everything to lose that game down the stretch. And the Halliburton shot, I'm convinced I really believe this. Like if you do enough good things on the basketball court or enough bad things, you'll either get rewarded or punished for it. Period. I only believe in one God, but I'm saying the God I believe in, I feel like will punish you for it. All right. So the way I look at it is like, okay, like if you pass up an open shot, the best look you could have had in a possession, and you're going to get a bad look after that. You're not getting a good one. You're not going to get 2 good looks like that. You have to take the first good one. It's there, take it, right? It's the same concept, right? Okay, you want to play drop coverage and be negligent and let a guy an NBA player just rear back from three and take practice shots in the big moments. Okay, cool. Well, when Tyrese gets the basketball and is in a scramble drill, it almost looks like, and he's running back to get by a 3-point line, throws the ball at the rim, and it hits the back of the iron and bounces up and hits the ceiling of MSG and falls right through the net, right through the center of it. Make no mistake about it, you're paying for your sins. You're paying for your sins right there because you were in drop coverage the entire game. You let these guys get going. You gave them confidence, right? You had a great lineup like Miles was talking about, where when Mitch and those guys and Deuce and Cat, where they were playing well without Jalen on the floor, you went back to Jalen and you decided to go back to your ISO basketball style, made some mistakes. And I also say this too, Jalen has to do a better job against blitzes and double teams. He almost had a really crucial turnover. I believe it was in overtime at a full court trap situation. He's bad against the trap. He leaves his feet. He doesn't stay on 2 feet on the ground. He puts the ball on the floor too early. You don't have to dribble the ball that early. That's your leverage. Don't dribble it that early. If you know a trap is coming. They just kept blitzing him and doubling teaming him, and he kept turning it over. To Miles' point, 7 turnovers. So that's another thing that's concerning to me too. But then you have Mikal Bridges, who you traded 5 first-round picks for, and he got involved a little early in the game, and you never heard from him again late in that basketball game, in the second half in particular. Never really got him going, never had him coming off for any kind of screens, no actions for him. He's such a good mid-range shooter, and you're not going to that guy. He should be getting you 22 points a game. You should be relying on that guy for that. 100%. Having him should give you the flexibility to play more different combinations of lineups, where you don't have to rely on Josh Hart, who can't shoot it, and also, to be honest, sucks on defense too. He sucks defensively. I think he's overrated. I really do. There was a baseline drive where he pushed the guy out of bounds in a crucial moment and to pick up a stupid foul. He allowed the backdoor cut, and also on a crucial moment as well. Off of Tyrese drive, Tyrese is not driving to score. He's driving to pass it. We all know it. Why are you looking at Tyrese? Like, what are you doing? Your man is here. Like, it's you don't see ball and man, and you get back cut. It's crazy. So I don't know. It's a lot, as you can see. But with the Knicks, they're still the better team than me. So I think you have to be even keel if you're a Knicks fan. But to me, in the history of watching this game, I've never seen a loss like that. The stats bear it out, right? Like, I think this is like, out of 994 chances, no team's ever lost a game like this in this manner, where you were up by 15 points with like 2:30 left in a game. You didn't know. It hasn't happened. It was the first time. It was insane. 15 plus points, you're up and you lose in that fashion. It never happened. But the thing that worries me about the Knicks is the emotional toll of that loss. If they look flat coming out the next game, the series is over, in my opinion. I really believe it, because that's the kind of loss that you either bounce back from or you don't. Like, you have to get up off the mat or you don't. That's a ridiculous loss. And I'll say this too, and no one's gonna want to hear it. No Knicks fans gonna want to hear it. It's a shame that under most circumstances, a loss like this would get a coach fired, like Tibbs, right? It would get him fired in the postseason. It really would. He's not going to get fired because of the run you guys have been on, as the Knicks have been on. And that's a tough pill to swallow, because to me, I don't think he's a coach to get you over the hump. And I just gave you a bunch of reasons. He was in drop coverage. It bears out. Go listen to people talk about it that you trust. Go listen to Tim Legler talk about it. I'm sure he's talking about it on his podcast, on the All NBA podcast. Go. Like, it's crazy how they stayed with the drop coverage the entire game. And that was the game, in my opinion. I really think that's why they lost. Turnover aside, offensive ineptitude aside, they scored a bunch of points. That's not the problem. Tibbs will not change his mind on things when he goes to it. He is so not flexible. He's an old school coach in that way. And it seems like he doesn't listen to his assistants at all. Like, they don't have any say in anything that goes on. Or maybe his assistants just don't say anything because it's a bad. I know what that's like. So hey, because you know he's not going to listen. So I don't know, man.
Hey, that's an insider. Maybe one day we'll do a tell all, and y'all could get inside on what that is. But that'll be a Patreon episode. Y'all have to pay for that one. Y'all would have to pay for that one, because that is, y'all wouldn't believe what Greg is referencing right now. That's a Patreon pay for that episode tell all for sure. And in regards to tell all, it seems like Caleb Williams and his father did a little bit of a tell all going into the draft. Once he was drafted, it's a book coming out, I believe, in September. And one of the main quotes that is in there, which I don't knock his father for trying to put his son in the best position to succeed. We see it all the time in sports now, even more so often. But the main quote that's coming out from there is that he didn't want Caleb to go to Chicago because the Chicago Bears organization, Chicago is the place where quarterbacks go to die. Was Caleb Williams, was Carl Williams right in what they did, their approach, and were they right in general about having angst of going to Chicago?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think, and I was always curious about whether or not that was happening behind the scenes. I was always more curious about why it felt like Caleb was just okay going there, right? There was no public knowledge of what's going on, but it was happening behind the scenes. Little do we know. Of course, now we do. But I think it makes all the sense in the world. And the funny thing about the situation is that time has proven him to be correct, because it turns out that Shane Waldron wasn't even watching film with Caleb Williams, which you found out about after the fact, and that they fired Eberflus midway through the season after multiple coaching blunders. But the funny thing about it to me too is, like, from the outside looking in, why would you keep Eberflus there if you got a new lease on life? You get a number one pick, and you know you're going to take this generational quarterback at number one, and you keep the defensive head coach there who ruined Justin Fields and gave him no chance to succeed. Because don't make it all about Justin Fields. He never had a chance to succeed. He was never coached well in Chicago. He had the talent to be a good NFL quarterback, to be an all-pro level quarterback, and it never worked out. And it's about coaching. Football is so much more about coaching than it is about anything else. That matters so much. They have so much impact on the game from play to play, from snap to snap. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's refreshing to hear about it. I will actually kind of want to get the book to know more about what happened, because I'm just so curious about how the lengths they went to. Obviously, they were looking at going to court, and there's the draft talk, and I heard that they were looking to get the draft kind of shut down, right? And or even make a provision where the Bears couldn't pick them. The Bears couldn't even pick them, right? Which is even crazier. So, yeah, and talking about going to a different league and all that stuff. So I think it's really interesting, obviously, but Caleb and his father had the right idea. Obviously, the Bears don't know what they're doing. And I think if you're a Bears fan, it's just got to be you got to be drunk off at this point, right? Like it's like it never works, and you know the ineptitude of the organization, and you know it's spanned for over generations with this quarterback stuff, and it feels like it's never going to change. Hopefully, Ben Johnson can change that for them, but some organizations it never does change. But hopefully, they have the right people there. We'll see how it goes from there. But I think it's really interesting.
Hey, Miles, do you think, regarding the situation, we agree that it was right, but do you think they went about it the wrong way, going behind the backs and having this be a part of a book that's dropping?
But hold up, this is them talking through the book.
Yeah, these are quotes from Carl and from Caleb that they was
Okay.
thinking about going to the CFL so they could take 1 year off and then possibly, go to the Minnesota Vikings as a free agent. Like, this came from their mouth.
Damn. All right, that changes it. I thought it was just one of those twisting my words around, but these are their words. So I think they could have gone about it differently, even though, yeah, you could say they could have tried to do the Eli route. But I mean, if a guy's digging his heels in and saying we're going to take you regardless, then I mean, there's not much say in anything. Like, the Mannings have a lot of power when it comes to NFL and swaying what they want to do or don't want to do or where they want to go. Um, I think Caleb, coming off of a great career at USC, I mean, he could have done that. He could have tried to openly make it known, like, okay, I'm not visiting with Chicago. I'm not interviewing with them. But I mean, you don't want. We already had this whole issue with Shador, even though it's a little different. But I mean, Caleb's going to be a great player. I think it could all end up working out anyways because Ben Johnson's here. But now, whenever this book does come out, which if I'm him, I'd want this to be pushed until maybe January next year. Because if this comes out before training camp, and his teammates are going to read it and they're going to see, oh, this guy wasn't rocking with us. He didn't want to play here. He didn't want to be here. So no matter behind closed doors, he could be like, yeah, like I'm a Chicago guy through and through. This book says differently. So it's going to be a lot of interesting combos in that locker room coming up. And um, let's see if the dynamic changes. You see people, flexing on him or not listening to what he has to say on the sideline after an errant throw. Do they just revolt against him? Which I don't think they will, but it's possible where they're like, oh, this guy didn't want to be here, then we don't want you to succeed. We're not going to block that backside backer coming for your numbers. So Caleb, not the best route you could have chosen.
I think the concern with this, the only thing where I think it actually backfires on him, because I think people in the locker room could be honest and be, if they really like think about it, and be honest, like, I ain't want to come to Chicago. I ain't want to come play here. I know it's plays in the locker room that probably like, I ain't want to come here either. He has to, even the more, even before these quotes came out, we talked about it. This year is not much room for error. And all the talk coming into the draft, you being the number one overall pick, throwing sometimes throughout the season your teammates under the bus, and it's this person fault, that person fault. The room for error is even shorter this year. You got a new coach now. You was right. That wasn't a coach. You was right. It wasn't the right OC. And it's not much room. And that Chicago is not obviously the New York media, but trust in the league, the Chicago media, the teammates, all of the sort will be on his head top 2 games into the season. 300 yards passing in 2 games, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They gonna be on him. There's not much room for error. Before we transition, I don't know if you wanted to add something else to it, Greg.
I was gonna say I think the teammate thing is a good point, and I actually kind of underrated it when I initially saw it because DJ Moore didn't like this guy last year. You know, you could see that there was one teammate who clearly didn't like him. Like there was no chemistry there at all, and I don't think it's as simple as he's just missing throws. I don't think he likes him. It felt like there was something there. So this doesn't help. Obviously, from that perspective, it does not help at all when you talk about this being public knowledge now. I think he does have to play well, but to be honest, based on the moves the Bears have made, revamping the offensive line, he was going to have very little room for error anyways. And being a black quarterback, I think all those things make it a little trickier now. So you really got to be on your P's and Q's out there, or things can turn on you for him real quick. So I do think he has to go out there and play at a high level, but I think the expectation was always there. I think that was always going to be the case. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I wanted to chime in there with as well. And I'll also say too, with the organization too. If you think about it, okay, he doesn't want to go there. Well, you could have drafted Jane Daniels. Who is the guy in there making these quarterback evaluations? Ryan Poles has gotten a long leash on life over there. I'm not going for his job, black executive, awesome. He has gotten a long leash on life. He lived through 2 quarterbacks. That is very rare to have drafted Justin Fields, I believe. He didn't walk into Justin Fields, right? And then also to have gotten gotten Caleb Williams. To do that, to live through those 2 lifespans as a black man in the NFL, that's something, right? That's something. And so I think, as an evaluator of talent, which is your job, part of your job, how do you not know, okay, well, I got Jaden Daniels with a close grade. Like, if he doesn't want to come here, is it the worst thing in the world? Or are we picking him because of public pressure? Because everyone says, because of all the hype. So if we don't pick him, now we look stupid. You're worried about that, but you pick with conviction, right? You pick the quarterback you think you're supposed to be the expert, not us, not people on the outside. So it doesn't matter what we're saying. If you think that this guy's special in the way that the Giants thought Jackson Dart was good enough to be getting the first round pick, and a lot of the media may have disagreed, they picked him. You're paid to make those tough decisions. That's why you're there. So you don't panic and take Caleb anyways. Look into the other options. Jaden Daniels is awesome, and we know that now. But you were paid to know that before, so shouldn't you have known that? Shouldn't it have been an option on the table? That's one thing I'm saying. It's an observation of mine. So inept. I wouldn't want to be a Bears fan.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, NFL players will be allowed against the liking of some of the professional flag football players. The NFL said, we're not sending y'all over there. We don't want y'all representing us. So the NFL players will be allowed to be a part of the flag football, which is now in the Olympics. Miles will get the first overall pick. Greg will pick next. I will pick last. And it'll have that, I forget what it's called, but that draft style, the last pick always gets the two draft picks. So I'll get 2. It'll go back. Miles will get 2, and so forth and so forth. It's not that many picks. It's only a quarterback, running back, and 2 wide receivers. Miles has a number 1 overall pick. You don't have to go quarterback, but the clock is on. Miles Davenport, who are you drafting number 1 overall?
Can you do the tush push in flag? No, I'm probably taking Patrick Mahomes. I think the way he can make these off-schedule throws and That's the main thing in flag football. You're trying to wait for guys to get open. You're moving around in the pocket, getting outside of the pocket, and making those crazy throws. Yeah, Pat. I got Pat.
Greg with the second overall pick.
It's gonna sound crazy. I'm going Jaden Daniels. Or wherever the quarterback is, I'm going Jaden Daniels. That's the guy I want. Speed, incredible arm talent. There's nothing to talk about. He's getting. You're not pulling that guy's flag off. That's all I'm saying.
My number one overall, well, not overall pick. My number one pick, I'm going with Jamar Chase. I'm gonna shore up my wide receivers, and I'm gonna go with Justin Jefferson. Those are my first two picks.
That worked out nicely for its home.
Yeah.
Back to
you,
back
Greg.
to Greg and then Miles.
To go, tight end's a spot, right? We can pick tight end or no?
2 wide receivers, 1 running back.
Okay, that's what it is. So I'm gonna go for receiver. I'm gonna go with Malik Neighbors. I'm going Malik Neighbors. I'll do it comfortably too. I got no problem with that. Special.
You want to take Brian Thomas with your next pick? Just make all LSU picks?
I might. You're not gonna pick him. You didn't think he was top. You didn't think he was worth being in the top 10. Remember that.
Deflect.
Play the clip.
Deflecting.
Roll the clip.
All right. For my running back, I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. And then receiver, I'm going to take Tyreek. The boys are back in town.
All right. So that's back to Greg now.
For the next pick as running back, I'll take Saquon Barkley. Right.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I know. Still a great football player, though. He's good. Is that he may not pass the background check for me, but other than that, that's pretty much it. And I think it's back. Do I have 2 or is it you now? It's you, right? Tone.
It's Tone.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
I get my last 2. I'm gonna go with for my running back. I'm gonna go with Bijan Robinson. And then for my QB to shore it all up, I'm going to go with none other. And shout out to Chris. Happy birthday to Chris. I'm going with his quarterback, his favorite guy ever to be in the NFL, Joe Burrow. Miles, you got one more pick. Greg got one more pick. It is your pick, Miles, and Greg will end it off.
Oh, it's my pick. Okay. I'm going to take CD, my last receiver.
CD.
My wide receiver. Yep.
I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. comfortably. By the way, great player. Great. I knew it was going to happen. So yeah, I got a heavy LSU group aside of Saquon going to.
In third place, we have Greg.
Yeah, whatever. I got a great team. I got the Penn State KKK.
Hey, y'all let us know when this clip comes up. Let us know who will win gold, who will win silver, who will win bronze of the teams that we drafted. We're going to end off the show with this one. Juan Soto, batting average 243, 8 homers, 21 RBIs. He has not, as of yet, lived up to what the Mets have expected, what they wanted. He has not lived up to, as of yet, being the highest paid player in the MLB. What would you attribute to Juan Soto's early struggles?
He's still in the city. Like it's not like he left New York. He's hearing it from both sides. He's struggling, so he's hearing it from Mets fans. Even though I see some like, oh, you did the same with Lindor. Well, Lindor wasn't making $1 billion, so it's different. And then you hearing it from Yankees fans too. Like, you left us for this, and you're not producing. You wanted your own team.
For this is crazy.
You wanted to be the guy. I mean, there's a lot of expectations that come with it, and this guy's gonna turn it around at some point. Like, he's too good not to. Like, you look at his track record. There's a reason why he got as much money as he did, but there's no joy in baseball for him right now. He's not smiling. He's not shuffling. Guys homer, like they're winning by 10 runs. straight face giving them a dap in the dugout. I'm like, get it together. Like, it's not all about you right now, and it could be something deeper than just baseball. So I don't want to, dig too deeply with him and really bash him, but it's been a tough couple months for him, and I don't know. I don't. He might not come out of it this year. Maybe next year. Like even Lindor had a rough first season, where Greg was begging for him to get off my team. Now he's begging for that C on his chest. So this could be a lot different. It's 15 years, so let's all chill. Let's relax. But it's it's tough to watch for a guy who's one of the most exciting baseball players in the game. Like when he was younger, even in the World Series where he took over against the Astros, doing the Soto shuffle against Verlander and all those guys. I mean, that guy was like 22 years old doing that. So this is a great baseball player, probably a future Hall of Famer. But he's in New York, so the media is going to ride him until the wheels fall off. Oh.
Now, look, man, I think Miles did a lot of stuff besides the for them part or for this part. Did a lot of things that's right. I mean, look, I don't think this is about missing the Yankees. I don't think this is about regretting a decision to come to the Mets. I think this is about something else. I think something's going on with him that's a bit deeper. He's just unhappy in general. He'll hit a home run, and even the celebrations are tame. He's not enjoying competing every day. So he might be getting used to being a Met, being in a different organization. But I think there's something else off the field, because I think when he talks about playing for the Mets, he talks about how much he actually it seems to enjoy it. Now he can say things and lie, sure, but what's there not to enjoy? They were the top 3 team in baseball. They've been a top 3 team in baseball this whole year. They've been incredible. Outside of a recent little slide, this was the first time they lost 3 games in a row all year. Was that Yankees end of that Yankees series, those 2, and then the Boston series, losing the first one of them. So they've been incredible, to be quite honest with you. And so, from a baseball standpoint, what are you not enjoying? They've been great, you know what I mean, and you're paid. It just goes to show you money isn't everything. There's something going on there, and hopefully he figures it out so he can enjoy going to work every day. And I think that's what it is. But he's produced. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's got I think he's like 5th in the MLB in 100-mile-per-hour exit velo hits. So he's still hitting the ball hard. He's still a great player. He's gonna get going. It's a matter of time.
I do think there's truth to him more so favoring the Yankees in free agency, but family plays a big part in it. So if his family didn't want to be in Yankee Stadium, didn't want to sign with the Yankees, and they felt more comfortable with the Mets, who, I mean, you look at the team, it's a lot more of a Latino presence on that team. So he could relate to a lot of those guys. And I mean, you look at the Yankees, it's a totally different atmosphere. It's a lot more.
It's white.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say it's up until this year with the beard stuff, it was very serious. Like the Mets, you look at last year, that definitely helped sway his decision. Grimace. Where's Grimace now? He need to show his face, because they need him. They need him this year.
What are you talking about? They've been great. Yeah, okay.
I'll leave it at that. Soto, BU. We'll see if you make an appearance again with the Soto shuffle. I feel like if he starts doing that again, that's when you know that he's like feeling himself.
I agree. No one put a gun to his head, okay, and told him he had to sign with the Mets. So no one's gonna feel bad for him either.
He put that money gun to his head and said,
"Yeah, whatever.
Tell me when."
No one's gonna feel bad for a guy who's getting paid close to $1 billion in a contract over the course of 15 years. So at the end of the day, he'll be fine. He's gonna get used to being a Met. He'll end up loving it, and they have every opportunity in the world to win a championship with that team, with that owner, with the sway of playing for the Mets now, and where we are now, and that we're one of the premier franchises in baseball. I don't really know what there is to complain about. I think he'll be just fine. I do think it's something familial going on. There's something going on at the household. Like I have to imagine on some level that's what it is. But There's no excuse for not running out of a hard hit ball. There's no excuse for that stuff, and he has to figure that crap out. And he has to start playing harder and change the attitude of it all. But they'll be fine. I'm really not worried about it. It's such a long season. We're gonna forget we even spoke about this at one point. 162 games, man. You know.
All right. Very, very long season. Very, very long season. It really just boils down to, like you said, are you having fun? Are you enjoying it? That's the thing that even at the professional level, you still want to be able to have fun. You still want to be able to enjoy it because it's a kid's game that you're getting paid millions and in some cases close to billions to play this game and to actually go out there and perform. It's a long season. I'm pretty sure he will bounce back. I'm pretty sure at some point he will, because Juan Soto is one of the best in baseball, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. So it's just a matter of whatever's going on, he figures it out and goes back to the Juan Soto that we know, which at the end of the day, he's able to be this great, and he was able to get $1 billion because he stayed ready, so he never had to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.